What's up, guys? Before we get to this episode with Rodney Norman, I wanted to thank today's sponsor, Basidium Equilibrium. At basidiumequilibrium.com, you can find all the things you need to start your mycology journey, from spores, cultures, pre-poured agar dishes, pre-made media, and much more. Thanks for listening, and much love. Hello, and welcome back to Funcast, episode 35. Our special guest today is a favorite of many, the motivational speaker that we all need and love in our life, a comedian, and just a wonderful person, Rodney D. Norman. Thanks so much for coming on the cast tonight, bud.
Well, hello. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, man, I'm super stoked. So, how's it going? How's your day been?
Well, I walked. We hiked 3 miles out to the Great Salt Lake in sand. We got rained on. We had a lot of wind. We went out there to take pictures and didn't realize it was going to have to be a big of a hike as it was. And so I got sand all over me, and I'm tired. Other than that, I'm fantastic.
Oh man, I live in Florida, so it's like sand is everywhere all the time. So I totally understand that. So you were just taking some photos just for like a little photo shoot?
Well, I do a calendar every year, and we're trying to finalize it this week, and so we're getting some photos done and trying to get some scripts written for the little dialogue on the calendar, and yeah, we're under the gun to try to get it done. We do this. We've been doing this now. I think it's our 5th one, and in my true to form fashion, I always wait till the last minute to put it together. So, to my own detriment, I should have had it out a month ago, but whatever. I'm having fun.
That's what it's all about at the end of the day, right? Like, I feel like life in general, it's just about having fun. And I mean, it makes things a little spicy when you wait until the last minute.
Yeah. Well, just running around trying to get stuff ready for the photo shoots and stuff. It's been fun.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to grab a calendar, man. I had no idea you do a calendar every year.
Yeah, people kept asking for one, and so just as a joke, we did it the first year and thought we'd never, just one and done sort of thing. And people kept asking for it and kept selling more and more every year. So now it's a thing we do now. So never thought I was going to become a calendar maker, but it occupies a good part of my year now.
I mean, it's pretty cool. This is the firefighter calendar style.
Oh, absolutely. I'm partially nude in every photo. It's perfect.
That's what we like to hear. Rodney and the Speedo. That's what we need in our lives.
Yeah. We try to do a theme every year. This one is we're making fun of inspirational calendars.
Okay.
I think probably the most famous one is the one of the kitten hanging from a tree, and it says "Hang in there, baby."
Oh, okay.
It was all over when I was a kid. It was everywhere, and so we're doing that, and just it's all inspirational quotes with a twist. So it'll be interesting. See how fun it turns out.
Your inspirational quotes are honestly the best inspirational quotes from any content creator, in my personal opinion. It's just so wholesome, and it's so simple, but it's also so just straightforward, and it kind of detailed as well. I mean, I just shared the one where you said that if anything offends you, that you're stupid. And
Yes.
and it's just like, man, that really resonated with me today because there's a whole lot of people out there getting offended over just silly nonsense.
Oh yeah, most people who get offended aren't really offended themselves. They're offended in behalf of somebody else. And so they're just using it's just a power play to say, look, I'm more important and special and better than you are because I find offense in this thing. And then they're just making crap up. They're finding offense in things that are just not offensive at all. But they got to find offensive in something so that they can justify their uh, self-righteous existence. And so they're just changing the definition of words. They're making crap up. They're applying it to things that happened in history 4,000 years ago, and now all of a sudden we're trying to right the wrong of people who don't exist, probably never even existed. They were probably just made up anyway. And it's ridiculous. The whole society has just become absolutely insane. And I just find it ridiculous. And so I'm just making fun of it. And if you cancel me and hate me, all the better. Leave me alone. Just
Ah,
you know what I mean?
yeah, I totally understand, man. I feel like there's no way people are gonna cancel you or hate you. You're just a straight shooter. You say it how it is, you know.
Oh, it's that's the funny thing to me is that I'm not trying to I avoid politics completely because mostly just because they bore me. Political jokes, it's all the same. Oh, that guy's evil and stupid. No, that guy's evil and stupid. And that's it. That's all the political comedy. And I'm just tired of it. I don't want to be a part of the nonsense. And so I just stopped doing it. And I'm just going to start spreading some positivity because that's what this world needs. People need encouragement. People need to know that this is not the end of the world because everything we hear is end of the world. This is the most important election of all life and everything, and we're all going to die if we don't do this or that and that and this. And
We're
it's
all
just
gonna die no matter what,
always this.
anyways.
Yeah, we're going to die anyway. Wait, what are you? What the hell are we doing? And I'm like, this is stupid. But because they're all it's always a crisis of the month or the week or day, whatever. It's like none of this is a crisis. We've always with all this crap that's going on. It's been going on forever. Now they just find better and more conniving ways to make us feel anxious and depressed, so that they can get more control and more money out of us. And I'm just like, I don't want to participate in that world anymore. You know what I mean?
I do
Let's
know what
create
you
let's
mean.
let's create a different reality. That's what I'm going for. I want a reality where Bigfoot is real. You know what I mean?
I'm
Whether we
pretty sure
find him or
Bigfoot
not.
is real.
Exactly. Let's put some effort into that instead of the nightly news talking about what Taylor Swift is doing or what Kamala whoever said whatever about who. Let's get an update on Loch Ness Monster and what's going on at Area 51. Let's have a daily recap of what happened at the Skywalker Ranch. Let's have some fun. Let's
I,
let's let's go on some hunts for Bigfoot. Let's go out to the ice wall just to see what's going on. Let's have some fun. Let's we keep focusing on the dumbest things. And if we're going to focus on dumb things, let's at least focus on fun, interesting things. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Maybe people would stop fighting if we said, "Hey, Bigfoot's real, aliens are real, and there's an ice wall. Let's go see what's on the other side."
I
It'll
feel
be
like they
fun. It's
probably
more
would.
fun.
Let's all get
Yeah,
together and go look for the ice wall. It's pretty simple. It sounds like it'd be a fun time. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Get a group of people together and just take a hike.
Let's go do it. Let's go. Let's all go explore Antarctica. Let's have a good time.
I'm down. I'm down. I'm buying a ticket right now. um, besides like the stupid crap, and all the just the nonsense that's going on, and especially this time of year, and when the whole whatever election and all this stuff, the whole world kind of just like shuts down. But I mean, that's something that we've been honestly hearing about and talking about for whatever months now, and I want to get down to the nitty gritty, like that Zelda poster right behind you.
Absolutely, isn't that beautiful? This
Oh
is my
gosh.
this is my son's place in Utah. I'm here visiting, so I'm in his office, and he has swords and he has toys. He's got everything from Super Mario, Sonic the Hedgehog. We've got games. The boy collects everything. And so what I'm saying is I raised this boy right.
I love it, man. I love it. I'm that's I grew up playing Zelda. I grew up playing, Sonic or what, and seeing the show. That's kind of stuff. I already know that your son is an awesome person. And I've never even met him yet.
Oh, he's a good kid. All my kids are awesome.
How many kids do you
They're all
have?
they're all they're all nerds, and I love it. We have 4 boys and a girl.
Gosh, you got a whole little army behind you, man.
Yeah.
And that's amazing though, because you're like the most positive person ever. So I could only imagine that just bled into your children as well.
Yeah, like I said, they're all good. They're all wonderful human beings. They came out good. I blame
So,
mostly the I blame mostly their mother.
huh, no way, man. It's a team effort, 50-50.
Uh,
So how was the show last night?
oh, it was fun. We did this. Well, I headlined Friday and Saturday night. Where I do a full hour or more at the club in Ogden, Utah, for Wise Guys. And the last night was it was their inaugural 60 comics in 60 seconds competition. So every comic goes 1 minute, and then the judging is done by the audience.
That's
So,
great.
so the audience comes in and they click on this QR code and they download an app, and it allows them to judge each comic. And they judge them by 3 categories: their material, their stage presence, and the audience reaction. And they can judge between 1 and 5, 5 being the best, 1 being the least. And each member of the audience does the judging. And you judge, as soon as the person's done, you give them a score. You're not ranking everybody. You're just giving them. If you want to give everybody 5 stars all the way across, you can do that. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
if you want to trash everybody, you could. If you're a member of the audience, you get to judge. And so anyway, I was just we kind of like had a co-hosting thing where I got up and did like 10 minutes of material just to kind of warm up the crowd. And then Keith, the owner of the club, he gets up, explains the whole competition, everything, and then he calls everybody up and he kind of runs the whole show. And then at the end, I go back up, did a few minutes, then brought a few other comics up to do a few more minutes while they were tallying up the scores. And once they had the winner figured out, we get off stage. Keith comes back on. He brings up the top 10 of the night, and it was just a lot of fun because everybody's focused on being as funny as they can for 1 minute, and so you don't really get wore out. If you go to like an open mic and there's 30 comics, it will drain the life out of your soul. I mean, it is just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like I go to a open mic every now and then to my local place, and when the great ones are extremely funny, but then it's like sometimes you got somebody that's just like it's not the greatest, and that's okay, but it
Yeah,
is a little draining to watch,
yeah. Well, this forces everybody to come up and do their best material because they don't got time to waste. They don't got time to get up there and hem and haw, and they got to get up there and just start telling their jokes because it's as soon as they're up, it's over. And it was a lot of fun. I think it's going to be something that catches on. They're going to do it pretty right. Oh, and the winner got $1,000.
Oh, damn.
So
Okay.
that what happened? I lost my headphones. You still there?
Yep.
Okay. I don't know. My headphones stopped working, so I can
Okay.
still hear you. It's just on a smaller. You still there?
Yeah, no big deal. No big deal.
Okay. So yeah, it was fun. Like I said, everybody had to kind of focus and be as funny as they could for a minute, and it worked out good. A lot of energy. Just it was fun.
So you were judging this one?
What's that?
Were you a judge for this, or were you also
Oh no,
competing?
just like I said, the judges were the audience.
Oh,
So
okay, yeah.
nobody in the club had anything to do with it. They said they're doing their ratings on their phone during the show. So it's an interactive kind of thing, So you're getting to give your opinion about each comic. So it was fun. It was a
So
lot
is
of
that the
fun.
first time you've done that?
Well, I've hosted and done a lot of different competitions over the years, but to do it with an app instead of ballots. Yeah, before we would go out and just hand out ballots to the audience, but we'd only hand out like 10 or maybe 20 ballots to the audience. You know what I mean? Well,
Yeah,
this allows. We had over 200 people there just for the show.
just to see you.
Oh no, most of them had no idea who I was. They just stared at me like, "Who is this old fart? And why is he up here? What's wrong with this guy?" And but no, like 200 people get to judge, so it was a lot of fun.
I'm listening. Sorry, I just gotta let my cat out. He keeps meowing.
Oh, okay. Love the cat.
He wanted to be part of the podcast, but I told him he's not allowed.
Yeah.
But that's cool. So, a couple other people, you went out, you did your thing, had some fun. And did you do so? The photo shoot was today, right? That you tried to do.
Yeah. Yeah, we went out there and did it today because we had to just. Well, my son works, and so we had to do the stuff that's going to take a long time. We had to go do it today, so we had time to do it.
Are you doing
For the holiday.
the whole calendar for like in that one specific area, or are you taking photos all over the place?
Oh, they're all over. So there's photos from sea to shining sea, as it were. So
So I mean, like go back to like the Zelda and the Sonic. Were you an influence for this at all?
it was mostly their mother for Sonic.
Okay.
Okay, I actually when Sonic came out, I was a little bitter.
Why?
Well, when I was in junior high school, I used to play video games all the time, right? I had a paper route and I would spend almost all my money on just playing video games.
That's as any kid should.
Yeah. Well, I was a little obsessive, and my dad one time, because I did my paper route and I collected money, and then instead of going straight home, I went straight to the
The arcade.
arcade and started playing video games. And my dad comes in and he puts his hand on my shoulder. He said, "Son, you have a problem."
I mean,
I will admit, I was going crazy. I was spending all my extra time. I would do my paper route and then I would play video games. And so he said, "Look, you can still play video games, but you need to cut back." And he said, if you saved your money, you could buy a game console instead of spending all your money at the arcade and everything. And so I really cut back, and I started thinking, hey, I should design games, figure out how to design games because I had these ideas. And so I started designing a game, and it was this adventure game, and I was excited about it. But as time went on, I had other interests and everything. But I'd always had in my back of my mind I wanted to become. One of the things I'd wanted to do as a kid was make games. Can be
Same.
But life went on, and I did other stuff. And then then Zelda comes out, and it was the almost the exact game that I had been planning and designing when I was a kid. Was Zelda. I was going, this is it. This was the game that I was planning, He goes, it was a different character.
It took your idea, man.
But it was the same thing. And, there was lots of others that came up with the same. I mean, I was not it wasn't like they stole the idea from me. I mean, I didn't share it with anybody, but it was one of those moments where you go, wow, I could have done that. That's something that if I had really focused on, I could have, because the gameplay that I was coming up with was what they had, these little side adventures and different things. And I was just like, hey, I was right there. I was doing it, as a 12-year-old, 13-year-old kid. I had the right idea. So
seems like you just got the right ideas all the time, man,
Yeah,
you're full of right ideas, Rodney. I mean, outside of video games and comedy, what do you like to do for fun?
I'm an old man. I just like to take naps.
Oh man, naps are wonderful.
Naps, reading. I'm constantly. Well, I'm writing a book. I'm working on the calendar. I started working on a screenplay. So I'm either reading or writing most of the time.
Okay. What do you like to read?
Oh, mostly philosophy and history, and a lot of science, theology. I do a lot of reading of the scriptures. But yeah, I just love reading and studying and coming up with new ideas for videos.
It must be hard to just create all this content. I mean, even in myself, I'm like a kind of a content creator in the mycology community for like growing mushrooms and stuff, and even myself sometimes I get a little I guess writer's block for the videos.
Yeah, because well, it's weird because you come up with a body of work, and then you want to expand to do other types of stuff. But I don't know. It's just you just kind of have that constant thought in your head. It's like, okay, this could be the video that ends all of this. This could be the video. Everybody just stops caring about it. Or they'll just lose people. And you always get worried about sounding, regurgitating the same ideas and thoughts. And so I'm just trying to push it into different angles and be more creative and
push it to the limit.
The same thing that everybody goes through. I mean, but it's fun. It's a great challenge, when you find something that really connects with people. It's a lot of fun.
And oftentimes those ideas that, at least in my personal experience, oftentimes the ideas that I'm like super weary about posting end up kind of being like a hit,
Well, absolutely. It's the dumbest videos, the ones that I think are just no one's going to care about. They're the ones that take off and do great. The ones I spend time on and work it out, and, plot it and write it, and nobody cares about those at all.
Yeah, man. That's kind of like why that's the whole idea even behind this podcast is just the no plan jam kind of deal, right? It's
Yeah.
it feels better. It feels more natural and fluid rather than having to like go through a script and being like, well, Rodney, how did you become a comedian? And
Yeah, you go through bullet points. It's like, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Yeah, it's nice just to chill out and chat.
yeah, man, and it's like I've been following you for years, so seen your content over the years, and I remember when we first started chatting on Instagram, this was years ago. Uh,
Uh-huh.
who like nobody ever knows where anything's gonna go, right? And I think when we first started following each other and talking to each other, you only had like 10,000 followers at the time, and
Yeah,
dude, you're almost at like 500,000 now.
yeah, and there's no rhyme or reason to any of it. I mean, it can just be one thing that blows you up, and then because you'll get like 100,000 followers, and then all of a sudden you just flatline and you can't get views for anything. And then all of a sudden, this just one thing clicks. Next thing you know, you have another 100,000 followers, and then you settle back down again. And the algorithm is rather bizarre. And I
Oh,
found that just
worst.
ignore the whole thing and just create great content and just keep moving. It's just as, as soon as you think you figured it out, they've done something different with it.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
because they're always just trying to optimize it for their needs and to make money and run ads, and that's part of the social media thing that gets disappointing. Is once you find an app that's really exciting and fun to be on, as soon as it gets kind of hits critical mass, then it starts turning into a money making machine for them, and then it's all about ads and
And
slowing
shenanigans.
off. Yeah, and it's
And the whole algorithm thing is so weird, man. On that note of just like you said, you get like 100,000 views or 100,000 likes or follows, then it just got like flatlines, and it's just, oh, that could be disheartening at times. It's like when it's up, it feels really good. It's almost like being a business owner, right? It's like the great months are really awesome, but the slow months suck.
oh yeah, yeah. But it's a big dopamine rush when you get a video hits 1 million views. It's like woohoo! But
Yeah.
then when but then what it equates to financially is something like $60. It's like okay, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah, man. It's like I got monetized on Instagram a few months ago, and I was so excited. I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be, content creator." And then, I realized that like these videos make like 3 cents a day, and it's like I have to
Yeah,
bust my ass all month to make like $12.
yeah. And then the weird thing keeps happening to me is people will steal my videos and they'll repost them as theirs, and they'll get revenue from the
Really?
views, and then I don't get anything. And then I pointed out to Facebook, hey, that's my video, and they go, yeah, we agree. And then that's it. They just leave that person's version up. So it's this weird thing. It's like, okay, well, yes, my video is getting out there, it's getting millions of views, but I'm not getting any credit for it because they don't put my name on anything, you
Yeah.
know. And but that's kind of the monster that's been created in this whole thing is these people that don't make anything. They just take other people's content, repackage it, and post it as their own. And then but because they got more views than you do, Facebook and whatnot don't care. They were like, well, they adjusted it and they made a correct, and it added something to it, so they deserve to get credit for that. And it's like,
No, they don't. Fuck that.
yeah, it's the dumbest thing, but it's like, I haven't got the money to fight it.
Yeah, and
So
then even then,
I just gonna keep making my videos and having fun, and
and just keeping the positive vibes, right? Go back to the positive vibes, man. I think for the most part, right? I'd say we're doing this for the people, right? You
Well,
know,
yeah, just get people to relax and enjoy themselves and realize this isn't the end of the world. This isn't the apocalypse. We're not. I mean, all the doom and gloom they say it's it's a power structure that knows how to manipulate and control people, and so they keep making up crises so that they can solve them. And it turns out that their solutions make them millions of dollars. A lot of people get rich off fear and depression, and
that's the
just be
news
nice if
right
people
there.
start countering it a little bit and going, "Hey, I don't agree with any of this nonsense."
Oh, I totally agree on that. And I guess I will say like the fake accounts and stuff like that and like the impersonators, it sometimes gets to me, especially considering the fact that like you said, Meta, Facebook, pretty much do whatever. They own everything at this point anyways. It's like they don't give a shit. You know?
They're getting what they want. They're getting more people on their app, and if that means that other people are using your stuff to get more views, then they don't care. They don't care if you get credit for it or not.
Nope. As long as it
But
brings in them revenue.
yeah, so you just take what they give you and just move on and just try to create something else out of it.
Exactly, man. And I guess like at the point where like I don't I just like I can't like I don't post the videos to specifically make money, Obviously like this happened just naturally, right? So but like through that process, it kind of like adds a little extra almost like it's like a little stressor, right? It's like kind of in the back of the head like, well, now that I am making money from this, I have to be on my A game, when in reality, being on your A game is just not giving a shit about all of it, right? And
Yeah,
just posting exactly what you want to post because the people love the content that, you know, an individual posts because of whatever, I guess, whatever reason that may be. Half the people probably don't even know that people make money from these videos, right?
yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's yeah. You just got to do what you love and enjoy it. And if it pans out for you, it pans out. But yeah, it's a rigged game, and you just instead of beating yourself up about it, just go, nah, okay, this is how it works, and
and
it's
it's kind of
gonna,
cool, even if it's like an extra $60, right? That's an extra $60 in your pocket at the end of the day.
yeah. So yeah, I'm not gonna complain. I mean, there's a lot of well, I've been complaining, um, but it's just well, I like to bring it up to people so they understand that just because you go viral doesn't mean all of a sudden you're in the money, you know, and hopefully that people will see that when you see somebody's original work being used by somebody else, you feel like you want to support it, so you're supporting, which is great. But if you really care about that artist, go back and support their original work. Go back, find them, and give them the support. You know, because
I
I
agree.
want to keep creating. I want to keep making videos, but if I can't pay my bills, I gotta go get a regular job. I'm not gonna have time to do this. You know, and that's
Exactly.
and that's how a lot of these art, creators, independent artists, um, can make a living at doing this. But when you put all that time and effort into building something, and then it's just easily just take it stolen by other people, it gets a little frustrating.
I totally understand. Um, yeah, man. Especially like so, like in the mycology field, obviously, like mushrooms and stuff. You gotta get fake accounts trying to use my name to sell certain things and do certain things, and no matter how many times you report these accounts, no matter how many times your friends report these accounts, they never get taken down. Their posts never get taken down. But, if I were to post something on the original page that's like not even that bad, Instagram just attacks me, takes away all of my privileges, and allows these other people to just continue to do whatever the hell they want. But it's like it's almost like the content creators aren't allowed to do whatever they want. But if you have a million views from or a million follows from stealing people's work, then you're completely allowed to do whatever you want. And it's such a weird concept for me.
Yeah, and then the other part, I get a lot of people who are impersonating me, and they're contacting people that follow me and getting them to give them money and support stuff that I would never ever encourage people to do, and
Full
so
disclosure, Rodney will never ask you for money.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, you want to support me? Go to my website and buy stuff. That's it. That's the extent that I go. I'm not contacting you and say, hey, I need you to send me $400 so I can get out of a Peruvian jail. That's not me. Well, I had this one gal
I don't mean to
who I
laugh,
thought
but
she thought she'd been talking to me for over a year. And so she has this whole relationship in her mind that we've had. And then she finds out it wasn't me. And I feel horrible for her because she's had this relationship with this person who we have no idea who they are, but they've been impersonating me, and so that's the part that gets frustrating is when they just make up these fake accounts and then tell people, oh hey, it's me, and they get really clever. Like I said, hey look, this email account is not my account, right? So if you get an email from this person, it is not me. I have nothing to do with this thing. And so that person made a new email account and then started contacting everybody they could find on who responded to that post.
mm-hmm.
And started sending messages saying, hey, I saw you saw my post and that you liked it. Just want you to know this is my real email. I'm going, holy crap. I walked into that one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's weird the games that people are playing on here, and
you just got to keep going with the flow.
I can't get verified for anything. I don't know why they won't verify me.
Dude,
I keep trying to do that thing
forever.
They keep telling me that I'm not important enough, that I don't have a big enough following to be concerned about being.
Are they not allowing like any kind of so it's like the whole meta verified thing and stuff like that? You gotta be on like a wait list.
Yeah, and they just tell me I'm not important enough for them to care about it.
I figured kind of like a little bit of that stuff out. One day I ended up I signed up for, or I got like meta verified on Facebook just so I could get to their like special support thing, and I ended up speaking to them. I was so I could speak to somebody because I guess you gotta fucking pay to speak to somebody on this damn app, and they were telling me that it's just a randomized thing, and it's just like I spoke to this lady for like 45 minutes, and I was like, I don't understand your whole reasoning behind like what you're doing, because if you're trying to test this stuff out, you should want to have the content creators that are actually making some noise on this application to test out your like features, this, that, and the third. But like like for instance, you can't get verified, but somebody who just made an account randomly gets picked and is allowed to be verified now, and they have like 3 followers, and it's like, how is that person going to actually help you fix your problems of like this app? They have no following, they have no reach, and they were like, well, it's just random. And I'm like, that's stupid. It's that's stupid. That's just like, you guys are a billion multi-billion-dollar company probably, and you can't even, you know, figure out who deserves this and who doesn't. Ah, that's so weird, man.
Oh yeah, it's bizarre. And then TikTok they won't even respond to me at all. They're frustrating.
Oh, dude, I have a TikTok, but I don't really post too much on it. Um, but from I have some friends who were monetized on TikTok, and that's also like that's a pain in the ass, man. I don't know. It's all a pain
Well,
in the ass.
they'll pay you really well for a little while, then they just change how they pay you, and then all of a sudden you just don't make anything. Even though your views go up, you're getting more views, you have more activity, but you're getting paid less because they change the way they pay you, and then tell you it's to your benefit somehow.
I
It were
think I
it's
think they like messed up in that aspect because I'm pretty sure. So here's my whole theory behind this whole like monetization, getting paid for like all these apps is that they I think they overpaid people for way too long. So then they redid the algorithm to just pay us pennies. Uh,
yeah,
pennies for our seconds, or pennies. I don't even want to say seconds. Pennies for our hours, you
yeah.
know. So I think they're just now at this point just recouping all that money that they just dished out to some people who uh, didn't deserve it necessarily, and everybody else has to now suffer and earn like a half a cent per 20 views.
Yeah, yeah. It's well, it gets frustrating because you start thinking, oh, okay, now I can really focus on this because I can make enough money to really dedicate myself to it. So then you start really focusing on posting constantly and doing lives and really trying to improve your content, and you're getting better and better, and then you're getting less for it, and it's yeah, I think it messed up a lot of people. I mean, I just keep going because I have I do live shows and I sell merch, and that's really my bread and butter. And so I focus on that. I just focus on just continuing to build my audience and just keep delivering on just knowing what my brand is, as my kids like to say, and just focus on that. Instead of trying not to get caught up in all
Everything
the other
else.
nonsense. It's like just make great content, and it comes around. I mean, I've been shadow banned so many times. Oh my goodness.
Gosh, I've only been shadow banned once, but it's been for 5 years.
Mine kind of goes in spurts. It's like, um, I mean, I will literally go from like absolutely no views at all in on one app, and then I'll blow up on another one with the same videos, and then 6 months later it flips. For a while I'm really big on YouTube and Instagram. Next thing I know, that drops to nothing, and then I start blowing up on TikTok and Facebook, and it makes no sense at all. I mean, it's like I don't know, why am I trying? Why am I even following this? Because they
Yeah,
tell you you're supposed to look at the analytics and see when your audience is more active and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, as soon as you get it figured out, they change it anyway. So it's like you're constantly chasing it and trying to figure it out. It's like, yeah, screw it. I'm just going to make what I want to make. And if it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, oh well.
but and I think that's the best way to do it as a content creator. We're just doing this just because we want to put out this content, and then through that, the views will come. And if they don't, that's okay because we're passionate about what we do and we love what we do. And I think that's what matters the most.
Yeah. And, getting, because, like I'm always trying to create content that's positive, encouraging, and funny. As I like to say, that I have the three E's: either entertain, enlighten, or educate. And if you can do all three, you've got a great video. And that's how I constantly think about everything that I'm doing. It's like, am I, enlightening, encouraging, entertaining, educating? Am I hitting all those? And I find that when I hit at least two or three of those things, the videos do much better, and I have and I feel better about them. It's like, okay, because I just don't want to produce for the sake of producing. That's one trap that I've tried to avoid, is that feeling of, oh, I have to put out 10 pieces of content today, and it's like, I don't want to put out 10 pieces of mediocre garbage when I could just focus on just putting out one thing that's really good, that I like, that I'm happy with, and
Yep.
that's what I try. I don't want it to be a numbers game. I just want to create something that I feel good about every time I put it out.
I agree, man. And I guess like even going to that numbers game, kind of like backtracking to the numbers game, right? And even backtracking to like what you're doing, right? Your bread and butter of like you're getting your your content, your calendars and your merch. I had a great friend of mine I was speaking to a few days ago. His name's Brandon. Um and we were just chatting about business, and he was like, if I could give you one piece of advice, it would be that like don't like make what you have already better rather than adding more to whatever you can offer. And I took that and I was like, oh, and I started thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, that's actually really smart, because there's always room for improvement, right? And there's always room for growth in whatever you're doing. And it's like it'd be like you just it's like would you rather just like continue working on your comedy, or now all of a sudden now you're just a chef Rodney, right? It's like so going from motivational speaking, and now you're like cooking souffles, changing up the content. And that's not necessarily what people were watching you for in the first place. They want to see the motivational
Yeah,
quote, or want to see you make a souffle.
could be. Yeah,
But
yeah.
I
It's
mean, I would definitely watch you make a souffle, dude.
well, it's just your finding your voice and not being afraid to try new things. I'm always constantly trying to find just more interesting ways of doing stuff, and trying to challenge myself and challenge my audience. And I think that's part of what I'm always doing, is pushing, trying to push my audience to think differently and see the world differently. And sometimes I upset them,
And
but
it's like sometimes you upset them, but I've noticed that, or it's like as fucked up as it sounds, excuse my language, but it really is like any I guess what any attention is a good attention, so to speak, right?
oh
If
yeah,
like the haters, my haters arguably get me more views than somebody who loves my content,
yeah.
because now all the haters are sharing. Now all the you know what I mean. Oh, this guy sucks, but they share my video, and now I have 1,000 people from this person watching my video, realizing that I don't suck, and this person just has a problem.
Oh yeah. Well, that's one of the positive indicators that I look forward to, is when I start getting a lot of negative comments from people who don't know who I am. They're like, "Who is this old fart? Why is everybody listening to him? Why has this guy got 400,000 followers? This guy's an imbecile." When I start getting those comments, I know I'm in a growth spurt, because I'm getting exposed to people who don't know who I am. These are people who don't have a relationship with me in any degree. I'm just this old fart nincompoop spattering off nonsense to them, and they're responding to it because they see, well, why has this guy got 300,000 views? What the, because they're annoyed that from their perception is that this old fart who shouldn't even be on the internet is getting all these views, and they're upset about it, so they go and comment. And instead of getting upset, I'm going, yes, this is fantastic. This means the video is making its way into places it's never been before.
Thanks for the exposure.
Yes. And usually with those negative comments, I always either ignore them. If they get really nasty, I'll just delete them. You know what I mean? Because I don't really need that. But for the most part, I'll try to respond positively to them, and then people will come in and start defending me. And I've seen some people. Well, they basically blocked me and took all their comments down and blocked me because they realized that the crap storm that they got from my followers.
Yeah, your army attacked them.
Yeah. It's like, why are you going after Rodney, for crying out loud? It's pretty funny. So I take it. I don't feel good about what happened to these people when they're just being a simple troll and think they're gonna get a little bit of attention, and then when the attention they get isn't what they were expecting, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, man, dude. So, I mean, I got a serious question that I ask pretty much everybody on this podcast, and oftentimes it's a really hard question to answer, and it's a rough one. But I wanted to ask you this, and the question is, what is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Oh, that's funny. You should mention that because before I came on, I was like, I've been craving ice cream all day. Okay, I'm one of those that I just love all ice cream. It's always been one of my favorite things. In fact, when I was a kid, they used to call it ice milk. This is what my grandpa always ate, ice milk. Now it's just, I think now they just call it low fat ice cream. But anyway, and then sherbet. I love sherbet. Oh. But in answer to your question, when given the opportunity, I would say that my top two, sort of, they go back and forth, but it's chocolate chip cookie dough, and then second place, but not far behind, is mint chocolate chip.
Okay, all right. I think you're the first person to say chocolate chip cookie dough on the podcast.
Well, everybody else is wrong.
I agree. Yeah. I think, yeah, man, chocolate chip cookie dough is really good, especially when you get like the nice fat chunks of cookie dough.
Yes. When you get something you can really chomp down on.
It's like when you put the spoon in and then like it like dings because you hit the stone cold cookie dough, so you gotta like get the whole thing because you don't want to break it into two pieces. That's a whole bite.
You gotta heat up the spoon. You dip it in hot water, then go back in, break it up.
That's valuable advice, everybody. Just so you know, if you've never done it,
run your spoon under some hot water and then go back in, and it breaks it up nice and even.
Dude, did you ever think that you'd be touring and doing comedy? Was this a goal of yours?
It was always a hope, but it was one that I'd given up years ago and just decided that, look, I'm not that great looking. Maybe I'm not funny enough, but I love doing comedy. I love doing it. And I'm just going to keep doing it. I've never been one of the cool kids. So I'm not,
you're the coolest kid. Don't even say that.
But it was just, I was just overlooked for various opportunities. Nothing ever panned out. I was promised a lot of things by a lot of people, and it never turned out, and which is just part of the show business. I mean, it's just It's just the nature of the beast. And so it's just been something I just love doing. I just enjoy it. And then I also love philosophy. And so I started combining the two and having a lot of fun with it. And then, COVID hit. I was actually having one of the best years I'd had in comedy for a long time because I kind of intentionally took myself out of the game, as it were, because I didn't want to be away from my kids while they were growing up. Because I had gone on this one run for 6 weeks. I was away from home doing comedy, and I was miserable. Because every night I'm going, I got a wife and kids that I'd much rather be with than sitting in a bar room, you know,
Hanging with a
trying to
bunch of
entertain a
dudes.
bunch of dudes that didn't even know comedy was coming on. They're all playing pool or pissed off because they turned the volume down on the game that they were listening to. So I can get up there and tell. I'm like, what am I doing? And so I decided after that run that I was just going to treat comedy as a hobby and just do it locally. I wasn't going to travel that much. And it was just going to be a hobby basically until my kids grew up. And once my youngest was 18 and off into the world, I decided, okay, I'm going full in and started touring more and, started really doing stuff and setting things up. And then COVID hit and, took everything. It took, threw everything out of the window.
Yeah.
And so then I thought, well, what can I do? And I thought, well, I can make videos. No one's stopping me from doing that. And so I really started focusing on just that, the short form content videos and having just playing around with it. And that was the trick. As a comic, you feel like you got to either New York or LA to get discovered, to be seen by the right people.
Yeah.
It turns out all I need to do is make dumb videos in my backyard.
Dude, me too, man. I like to credit a lot of like my following to like when I first started making content, I was always dancing on in my videos. When I was always working. I make grains and substrate and sell like cultivation supplies for growing all kinds of mushrooms.
Uh-huh.
And I was like extremely bored just watching water boil. So I started posting videos of just me dancing, posting like my feet, posting just like that, this, that, and the third, to the point where people started calling it fung stepping. And just through that, more and more people started coming. They were like, dude, this is so awesome. This guy's just loving his life, making soil and cooking grains and dancing, listening to music, and showing people that it's like, I'm a real person, right? It's not just a business. This is me, and it's like, it's cool meeting people as well, because I like, while it's like, with this whole entire social media thing, there's people who put on the act, right? And then you meet them in real life and they are completely different than the content they post. uh, but then there's also people that you meet that are the exact same person in person as they are online. And that's me. I got nothing to hide. I'm not here to like trick people into thinking I'm somebody that I'm not. This is 100% me. Whether I have a camera on or not, I am always dancing and listening to music.
That's cool.
It's pretty great, man. I know. So I wanted to. I saw you posted a while ago that where you were in the were you in like the armed forces of some sort?
Yeah, I was in the Marine Corps.
Oh, so you're a whole badass. You just say you're not the cool kid, dude. You're funny, you're positive, you're motivational speaker, and you're a Marine on top of that.
Yeah, well, it gave me something to do for a few years.
Well, that's cool, man. I mean, Uh, so I like that's kind of like quite the opposite side of the spectrum, I guess, of what you're what you're I guess portraying, right? I mean, you like you got your tie dye on, you're
Well, it's funny to me because some of the most stoic and most spiritual lessons you can learn is at Marine Corps boot camp, because there they teach you to embrace chaos and embrace the suck that is life. Because when it comes right down to it, we got a job to do, and if we don't succeed, people die. You have to be focused. You have to put all the crap aside and not let things get in your way. You learn what's important. You learn to focus on what's important. You learn to ignore all the crap that doesn't matter. And they put you through just complete hell and chaos for 13 weeks. And what happens at the end of it is you become a very focused, stoic individual who can accomplish things and not be bogged down by the nonsense of life. And it's
beautiful.
it's brilliant. It's beautiful what they do, because you have a job to do, and anything that doesn't help you get your job done, it doesn't matter. It's not important. And that's a big part of the lessons that I try to teach people. It's like, well, yeah, you aren't going to solve all the problems in this world, but you can solve your problems. You can not add to the problems of this world, and then as you get better at being able to conduct your own life, then you become better and more equipped to deal with those other issues that maybe you didn't think you had power over. It's really about gaining real power, real strength, um, um, real insight and understanding, and ignoring the crap that doesn't matter. And that is the key to the whole thing. And that's why I love my experience in the Marine Corps. So it's funny to me that you point that out, that it's like, here you're, tie dye, hippie, spirituality, and yet a Marine. It's like, it's the same thing. It's all the same stuff. I mean, when it comes down to just accomplishing things, you could the same things apply whether you're going to war or writing a children's book or running a podcast or making content. It really comes down to, what do you have control over? Play to your strengths. Um, Work into your weakness. You have a weakness, figure out what it is and focus on overcoming it. Then you might turn that into one of your strengths, and that might be the thing that really sets you apart from everybody else. Is having that focus and having that foresight and that enlightenment, as it were.
Not
And
allowing the things to get to you.
yeah, you just don't let the world get to you. And it's like, and I tell people these things, and they say, "Oh, you're telling people to suppress their memories and repress their feelings." I'm going, no, I'm telling you to realize that all that doesn't matter. It's garbage. Why do you keep dragging it on? I tell people that you can choose to be happy. You really can. And somebody was like, "Well, what about people that were abused as children?" I'm like, "Yeah, them too. Probably even more. I mean, what you want to be continued to be abused through your entire life, and even whoever it was that did the abuse is probably dead now or gone. You never haven't seen them for years, but you're just going to keep doing their work to you. You're just going to keep abusing yourself because of that idiot. That's what you think you should do. That's the healthy way to deal with it. No, you mock and ridicule that thing. You forgive that person and let them go and be out of your life, and you just move on. That's how you deal with things, you
You
know.
damn
And
right.
it doesn't make it less. I it drives me nuts because you're making less of their trauma. Yes, I am, as you should do. Stop making it a big deal. Stop beating yourself up. Stop continuing to abuse yourself because you feel like it needs to be a bigger issue in your life. It doesn't need to be a big issue in your life. It should be, You should have the strength to just push it aside and go, you know what? I'm going to move on. I'm not going to let that idiot, whoever that was, continue to hurt me. And that strength. And I love getting people to see that when when you embrace that mentality, you move on. You stop being a victim. Be a victor
Exactly.
and move on with your life. Quit reliving all that nonsense. We're here. You're not. People talk about how do you be in the now. You're in the now all the time, whether you believe it or not.
Right
You're
now, that's how
here.
you be in the now.
This is it. You know,
This is the
and
now.
whatever you bring it into this moment is on you. Whatever nonsense things that you feel like you got to bring into this moment right now, that's all you doing that. You make the choice every moment as to what you are going to think about, what you're going to focus on, all of that. And when you finally take responsibility for your own life and your own mood and your own attitude and your own spirituality and your own understanding, wow, the life gets better. Because now
You
you can
know,
actually do something.
it's nice. I guess it's good. You get to be yourself, right? It's like not give a shit about what people think. Not care. Just do whatever you're doing and continue to do that because you're happy about it, right? I mean, obviously, there's like morals and, don't be a dirtbag, I guess, right? But, for the most part, like, I think uh, you're you're gonna offend somebody no matter what. Is if there's one thing I've learned through content creation is there's always that one person who just goes off on you for absolutely no reason, and it's kind of understanding that that person probably has so many more problems than than you could even understand. Because if
Yeah,
there's, if a silly Instagram video of you saying just deal with it pisses somebody off, you got to realize that, like, all right, this person is probably unhinged,
yeah.
and I appreciate the exposure.
Well, it was funny. I had a guy. He just out of nowhere, he just made this really nasty comment about how I'm just always giving um, BS nonsense to people, and that it's probably more damaging than it is good, and I'm a stupid mother effer, and all this kind of stuff, right? And instead of publicly, trying to shame the guy or go after him, I just DM'd him and I said, "Hey, dude, I don't know you. This is the first time I've ever encountered anything with you. I don't know if you follow me or if you know who I am, but I saw your comment, and I just want to let you know I don't know what you're going through, but if lashing out at me is helping you not lash out at people in your life, I'm okay with that. And I don't know what I did that you're so upset about, but I just want you to know I don't take it personally, and I really hope that your life is better, because people who are not unhinged don't say things like this to people they don't know, you know." And so he wrote me back almost immediately. He said, "Hey, dude, man, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was a little over the top." He says, "I'm dealing with a lot of stress, and I see people posting positive stuff, and it just pisses me off because my life is miserable, and I try to be positive, and it just gets worse, and so just he's lashing out." And I said, "Well, look, like I said, if lashing out at me makes your life easier, knock yourself out." And he wrote me back again. He says, "You know what? You're right. I'm so sorry." Uh, and he took the comment down because people were starting to rip into him about it. I didn't make any comments, but other people were like, "Hey, dude, get a life," that kind of stuff. And I could tell this guy didn't need that. he did. He didn't need to get a tongue lashing. He's probably getting. It sounded like he was having a horrible time at work, and that coming on the internet and uh, saying horrible things to people he doesn't know is how he was dealing with it. And I figured I caught on to it. You know, I didn't take it personally. I'm like, how can you take it personally? I don't know you. I mean, I don't. You know, when people flip me off on the road because they cut me off, and I honked at them, and they're getting mad at me. I'm like, that's your problem, not mine. I just like, I don't take it
I'm
personally.
just a
I was just
dude.
trying to let you know I didn't want you to hit my car and inconvenience both of us for having to deal with the aftermath. But if you want to get mad at me for doing that, you know, that's your problem, right? I'm just not going to carry that anger and hatred and animosity and frustration with me. I just don't want to do it. There's no reason for it. It doesn't accomplish anything. And that's part of the message I'm trying to get to people. It's like, look, you don't need to be, you know, just because somebody wants to pick a fight with you doesn't mean you need to fight with them.
That's a
You
big
know?
one right there. That's a huge one right there. I wanted to say though, as far as like, I go backtracking to kind of the Marines, right? And
Mm-hmm.
just being in, so this, obviously this is mostly psychedelics, of what people grow with my substrate and or grains and stuff. But the some of the best cultivators that I've ever spoken to and or know, most of them are veterans, and they're using they're using these medicines to also help them through the traumas that they've dealt with in
Oh,
the
absolutely. Yeah. The things I've been reading and studying about is that it's able to help you because a lot of these PTSDs and anxiety and depression, it's because you create this loop in your mind that you can't stop. You know, just this. You're just constantly in fear. You're constantly worried of something's going to explode or happen, and you're just in this constant state of anxiety and depression, and for whatever reason, the psilocybin is able to take and break that pattern up, and just sort of clear it out, just kind of reset your brain, and you can move on. I mean, it's brilliant, and so I I think it's fascinating what's been going on with mushrooms, specifically mushrooms. I think more so than even cannabis. Um, Cannabis has had some benefits to people with dealing with these issues, but nothing like the new research into microdosing and uh, all
yeah
of that stuff with the mic and there's even mushrooms that you can get that are completely legal to have that are having these effects.
lion's
You know, it's
mane.
getting so advanced. I mean, people are finding that. I guess a lot of it's coming into the combinations that you're able to create, and it's magnificent. I think it's brilliant. I think it's a wonderful time to be alive.
It sure is, man. I mean, it's opening up the avenue for actually healing, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it's not, that the special things about mushrooms, psilocybin, or stuff like that, is that it's allowing you to see that, like, your issues, right? It's highlighting these problems for you. um it's almost like spoon feeding you your issues, right? It's like, I don't know why I'm broken. Well, take a little bit of mushrooms and see what's bothering you, because that is, whether it's bothering you or you don't know it's bothering you, it's going to be highlighted, and it's all about you kind of taking that lesson and understanding what it taught you, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, obviously this and that is bothering me, while but also this other thing is bothering me that I didn't even know was bothering me.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then then you could internalize that and kind of like start to work towards repairing that trauma. And that's not something that is done overnight. You can't just like fix yourself in one day. You know, you can't just take like 7 grams of mushrooms and say, I'm an enlightened individual now and I'm not broken anymore, which happens very often.
Yeah.
But um,
It's like they learned a valuable lesson, but forgot what it was.
100%. I mean, you know, I like to say uh, I needed a heroic dose of sobriety to truly understand the lessons that psychedelics have taught me throughout the
Yeah.
years. And I mean, and I guess that leads to, have you ever dabbled?
Oh no, never have. I had when I was a child, I had anxiety issues, I had anger issues, I had OCD. I mean, I used to get up and clean my entire house when I was 6. I mean, I would because I mean, I was my mom loved it. She
I
didn't want to
bet.
stop it. Um, but I had a lot of anxiety and anger issues, and I could go into just complete fits of rage for no reason. And I had one time I got in a fight with a kid at school and hurt him pretty bad. And even though he was the one who started it, and he was picking on other kids, and I stopped him. Um, even though I was justified in the way I dealt with it, I didn't feel good about it. You know what I mean? I felt
Mm-hmm.
like I did. I mean, you just that moment of just complete, just just
Rage.
out of control rage, and it scared me. I was like, I didn't want to be this, and I was bigger than most kids for my age. So the combination of being bigger and then having this anger, I was like, I'm gonna hurt people if I don't control this. And so as a kid, I started reading about anxiety, and I started reading about religion, and getting I really got into the Bible. I got into Hinduism and Buddha and Easter, the Tao. The Tao was my favorite as a kid, and I started using those kinds of things, using all of that, getting in touch with God, with the universe, whatever you want to say, as a child. And I was able to work through my issues as a kid on my own, but it was from reading these books, reading the scriptures, reading the Bible, reading the Tao Te Ching, and all that stuff. And I became, within just a few months, really, I became, instead of this kid that was just kind of going along with life, I became very introspective as a child. And because I didn't want to be this mean, angry person that I could be, I felt like I was dangerous, and I just wanted to be the opposite, and so that's what I became. I became um, very calm, and I learned that I was always responsible for my emotions. That was one thing, is I never caught into that, just do what you feel like. It's like that's nonsense. That's horrible advice.
Do what you feel like sometimes.
Yeah, some. I mean, it can be beneficial, um, but for me as a kid, I just I identified what the problems were, and I chose that I didn't want them to rule my life. I didn't want to be angry. I didn't want to be anxious. Um, the anxieties that I felt, well, a lot of it I think was because we were poor, and we moved around a lot. So I was having to start new schools almost every year and meet new people, and start new relationships, and I thought, well, I can either just be the loner who doesn't talk to anybody, or I could be the guy that can make friends with anybody. And I chose that I'm just going to be friends with everybody. I'm just going to enjoy the company of whoever wants to enjoy my company. I'm going to enjoy their company. And so when I moved someplace, I instead of thinking, hey, is anybody going to pay attention to me? Is instead of focusing on me, I focused on them. I would get there and I would just start being friends with people. Um, I would I would see the guy who's by themselves. That's the kid I'd go sit next to at lunch. You know, I kind of look at myself as the nerd whisperer. Um,
I love
and
that.
because the weirder they were, the funner they were. You know,
I mean,
everybody else trying to be the cool kids, and I wanted to hang out with the kids that were nuts and weird. They were the fun ones. They were the creative ones. They were the ones that had talents and wanted to do crazy things. They were the ones I was interested in, and so I realized that anxiety that I would had as a kid, that it was completely being made up in my mind, and I didn't need, it wasn't useful. And I thought, other kids are more worried about themselves than they are about me. They don't care what I'm wearing. They don't care, that I look goofy. They just don't care.
they're
And
just like
the,
reflecting their insecurities onto you.
yeah, exactly. And and so I just became this person that just loved people and wanted to be friends with everybody. And I had friends. I didn't get into any cliques. I mean, I was in debate, I was in band, I was in, I played football all through. I also was in, drama, and I loved I wanted to try everything. I didn't want to be in a clique. I just, because it's just boring. Just hang out with
Yeah.
a bunch of people that think the same way you do. I just didn't want to be a part of it. It was boring to me. And so I was always, as a kid, I was just always just open and uh,
It's friendly. But I mean, and that's kind of just,
yeah.
dude, that
I could be friends because I just cared about people. You know, the best way to I get to know somebody, just sit down and start asking questions. Say, who are you? What's your name? How long you been going to school? You lived here your whole life? You got a lot of brothers and sisters? You just start showing interest, and all of a sudden they start, wow, somebody cares. Somebody's listening to me. And it's amazing how much you can accomplish just listening to people.
100%. And even like asking a question, right? I mean, if I didn't ask you to be on the podcast, this wouldn't be happening.
Yeah, just ask.
It's
That's it.
my friend Pat was saying that there's a term for that. And I don't know what the term is, but it's just like ask and you shall receive for the most part, right? It's like
Yeah,
if you don't, you'll never know. It's like you miss every chance. You miss every chance that you get by, I guess, not asking.
yeah. Well, yeah. Was it the answer to every question you never ask is no?
Is that it?
Yeah.
Uh,
If you
yeah.
never
Well, I mean,
ask, it's
I
always going to
guess
be
so.
no if you never ask.
100%, man. Or it could even just be a lingering, like, it's like if you never ask, you never know. Yeah, so I guess it is no. And then now you have to live the rest of your life thinking, well, I should have asked. I should have
Yeah,
done this.
should have asked.
And sometimes it's simple as, but also it's like it's not as easy as it comes off at. You know what I mean? And this, okay, that kind of just like uh, made me backtrack to um, what should we call it? Oh gosh, I forgot. I forgot it.
Yeah.
I'm an airhead sometimes. Um,
I was watching this interview today of this kid who wanted to work for this social media company, and he didn't have a resume, he didn't or anything, but he followed this company, and he knew them well, and he just decided, I'm just going to go tell them that I want to work for them and be an intern or something, because I just want to be there. And so he goes to them and he says, hey, I'm follow you, I subscribe, I do all this stuff. and you guys are all older, and I don't think you guys fully comprehend social media for younger people, and I want to do that for you. Can I work for you?" And they're like, "We don't know who you are." And he said, "I know, but you will." And so he started creating content and just sending it to them, and they were like, "Well, this is really great." And it was geared towards a younger mindset versus the Gen X
Mhm.
and older, and it was really geared towards Gen Z, where this kid was from. And he ended up becoming one of their started working for him and doing really well. But it wasn't through the typical means. He just went, knocked on the door, and said, "Hi, I want to work for you. What do I have to do to prove that I'm worthy of being on a part of your group?" And it was like, that's what all life is. I mean, just ask. Find the
Like,
person who's already doing it and saying, "Look, I want to do what you do. How do I do it? Where do I go? Point me in the right direction." And you'll be amazed at what kind of answers you'll get. Most people want to help.
yeah,
They appreciate knowing that somebody noticed that they could be of help. You know.
100%, man. Like, that's it. And I just wanted to mention the fact that you figured all this stuff out as a child without psychedelics ever in your life. This is something that there's a lot of people that never figure this out throughout their whole life. And you're 6 years old thinking, being introspective, right? And like thinking about what is going on in your life and how what you enjoy, what you don't like about this, and then you actively made these changes before you're at double digits. It honestly, it just increased your cool level by like 1,000,000%. um,
Well,
because you're just naturally a philosopher. You don't have to take a 20 strip of acid at Woodstock to fucking realize that you could you're possibly not doing something right, and that has just continued because you're still an extremely humble, wonderful human being, even after all of the fame, right? Um, because there's people out there that wouldn't wouldn't say yes to this podcast merely because of their status, or maybe an ego, or whatever it may be. So just thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that and showing people that you don't have to take psychedelics to learn lessons. um, you can just learn lessons through being a human being and actually just being present in the now.
yes. Just accepting, one, I have problems, and two, I can solve them. You take
Yeah.
responsibility that your actions are your actions. And you can sit there and blame other people or blame some trauma that happened to you years ago and say, "That's why I can't do anything." A lot of it is you're just scapegoating your own life. You're using other things as an excuse to not move on. You're using that as an excuse to not make progress. And when you finally just say, "I am going to be who I want to be, and I'm going to take responsibility for my own life. Here's what I'm going to do," and you just start doing it, and you'll find yourself just finding solutions to all your problems by just accepting the fact that you can solve all your problems.
You can. Exactly. Oh, dude. And then that just reminded me of what I forgot. And this was something that, like you said, you can choose to be happy. And this is a lesson that I kind of recently learned, right? Because I was stuck in a cycle of, oh, woe is me, blah, blah, blah. I had a rough life, this, that, and the third. Everything's going bad. And then one day I woke up and I was just like, I can be happy. It's simple as just being happy. Like, understanding that we do all have anxiety. We do have, like, we have depression, I think as humans, we have a set amount of emotions that we truly feel. And without the negative emotions, the positive emotions wouldn't be nearly as good. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's like, yeah, it like may sound like a hard task to tell yourself that I can wake up today feeling like shit, but I could still be happy.
Yes. As I like to say, you can hold more than one emotion at the same time.
Oh yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
just like you can have two different thoughts that seem like they're completely opposed. Cognitive dissonance. You can maintain that into your life, and you could do that for years and years and years. While you do the same thing with the emotions. And in fact, dissonance is a beautiful thing. It's a gift. Being able to hold two different ideas, two different emotions at the same time, that's brilliance. That's
Yeah,
that's
it
not
is.
a fault. That's good. Congratulations. You're an amazing person because you could do that.
One
And
hundred percent.
use it to your advantage and being able to see things from different sides and different points of view and not not falling into the nasty battles that they want you to fall into. You don't have to agree with everything just to be a part of the group.
Right? I mean, I guess it's like just because you're offended doesn't make you right.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, dude, it's like this is what it's about: understanding those emotions, feeling those emotions,
Yeah.
and
But not
internalizing
allowing
them.
them to dictate you. You're not a slave to your emotions. You're not a slave to your thoughts. You're not a slave to your past. You constantly and continuously are in charge of your own life, and whether you decide that you're going to keep handing that off to something else that ever happened to you, or when you just decide, hey, I don't want to live this way, I want a different life. So I tell people, who get depressed, I'm like, you're not upset with life, you're upset with the life that you're living. You're upset and bothered by the life that you've accepted. When you finally decide that you want to accept a new life and do something different, you can. But until you decide that you can, you'll never will. You keep using it as an excuse. Oh, it's so hard. Oh, I just
Oh, I
have
want
to
to be
try it.
happy.
It's just so terrible. Well, if you accept that, then fine. If that makes you feel better and that gets you through, then okay, keep doing that. But it's a choice. You chose to be that. You chose to continue to hold on to those things.
100%. And I think there's a lot of people like, oh, I want to be happy. I want to be happy. And there's actually my dentist. I was like talking to him one day, and I was like, hey doc, Dr. Roke, his name is. And I was like, hey doc, are you happy? And he's like, man, happiness is fleeting. You can't always be happy. Um, there are points in life where happiness is going to be there more than, maybe one day, but you can't always be happy. You have to feel these other emotions to truly enjoy your happiness. And when he told me that, it really stuck because my whole life I was like, I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy. But like, if you're happy all the time, then it doesn't hit as hard as it would if you were depressed for a couple of months, as funny as it sounds.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's not about repressing emotions. It's just knowing that you are in control of your emotions. And you feel depressed, be depressed. Just and then you tell yourself, okay, that's depressing. I don't like the way this is going. And then say, okay, what can I do to change it? And then you start making a list of things that you can do to change it. And it's amazing how your brain will just go, oh, okay, we got a solution to this problem. And and amazingly enough, you'll start feeling better. When you just tell yourself, I don't want to be depressed about this. I don't want to think about this. I don't want this holding me back. I want to do something else. And when you just decide to do it, your brain will
It's
go,
in,
oh, okay, I guess that's what we're doing now.
it's insane how powerful the brain is, man.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's like, but also uncontrollable at the same time.
Mm.
It that's it's like it's as simple as just saying I'm going to do this. Uh, and there's something I've been changing this past year in my life. I have stopped saying I'm trying to do, and I turn that to I am doing, because when you're trying, you're not doing.
Yeah, trying is saying I'm attempting something. I want to do something, but I'm giving myself permission to not do it. And when you say I am doing, you say I am going to write this movie script. I'm going to take a moment now and write one line of dialogue. And then you're doing it. All of a sudden, hey, I'm writing a movie script. Okay. Next day you go, I'm going to write the second line of that dialogue. And next thing you know, hey, I'm writing a script. I'm working on a movie idea. I'm writing a book. I'm making a video. I'm starting a new YouTube channel. I'm starting a podcast. I'm writing a song. I yeah, when you stop that try and just say, I'm going to do this right now. Even if you only take a minute to say, I'm going to take 1 minute and I'm going to do this for 1 minute. And then, like writing comedy, I tell comics all the time, you just got to be constantly, writing, be constantly pushing yourself, right? Working on material, making it better. And it really just comes down to it. You just say, okay, I'm going to take the next 5 minutes. I'm just going to write jokes. I'm going to write bad jokes. I'm going to write good jokes. I'm just going to write jokes. It doesn't matter if I like them or not. For the next 5-10 minutes, I'm going to write jokes. And then that 10 minutes turns into 15. Then you're starting having a good time. You start doing 20. And then next thing you know, you're writing for an hour. And it's just doing. You just say, what is it I want to do? I'm going to do it. And we all say, we don't have time. Maybe one day when I have the money and I have the time. It's never going to happen. Never going to happen. What you have to do is say, I have the time now. I'm going to use it. I'm going to do whatever it is and just do it.
And that's pretty much it, man. I wanted to ask, do you ever just go on stage and no plan jam, or do you like usually always have some
It's
some
always a combination of stuff that, I mean, I've been doing it for almost 28 years. So I've got lots of material to draw from, but I'm always trying to push myself and, you know, um, try to bring new ideas into it, try to make the jokes a little bit funnier, present it different. I like playing off the audience, and I don't really go in with a set idea what I'm going to do. I just get up there and go. And
that's the best way to do it.
yeah, and I'm trying to push myself to be even more creative and do more stuff. And so I'm challenging myself every time I go on stage to do different things. Because mostly it's like, I look at it this way. My act has gotten me this far, but it's not. I don't know that it's going to get me any further. I have to be constantly looking for ways to make it better and get better. And yeah, other comics have gotten a lot more success faster than I have, but they're a different person. This is me. I'm a slow burn, and I'm fine with that. I was like, okay, I'm just having
Yeah.
fun. I'm probably having more fun now doing comedy than ever.
That's awesome, though. I mean, that's what it's about right there. You're doing what you love. You're having fun doing it, and you're able to be more creative while doing that, because you're not putting as much pressure on yourself to appease a special audience or target somebody specifically. You're just kind of putting out what you want to put out, and I think that's pretty awesome. I mean, we've almost been talking for 2 hours already, and it feels like it's been 10 minutes. Um, I wanted to just like how so for the people who don't know you, how can we find you on social medias or online?
Oh, I just Google Rodney Norman. I'm the most famous Rodney Norman that's ever existed. Again, nothing against the other Rodneys, but I'm winning. Rodney Norman, RodneyNorman.com. I'm on all the socials, X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, or I already said that.
All of it.
TikTok. Yeah, I'm everywhere. You can find me.
Depends on it depends on the it depends on the day as far as which video is going viral on which app.
Yeah. It's always funny because I have times where I won't post anything for a while, for a few days, and then all of a sudden something will go viral that I posted, a year ago, and it's kind of fun.
It's
But
nice.
that's a big part of it. Is you keep putting stuff out, you never know what's going to take off or when it's going to take off.
And it's kind of nice, because it's always there. Once you put it out, it's there. So it's not like you really got to worry about it. And the more you put out, the more chances there are of something going viral.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I've really, really enjoyed speaking to you tonight.
Oh,
And
I had a lot of fun too.
I'd love to have you on again if you'd like to come on again for a part two sometime.
Oh, sure. I'd love to.
Sweet deal. Um, but yeah, I guess with that being said, we would maybe wrap this episode up so you could get back to maybe hanging with the fam. I could go find my cat. I think he's like roaming around the town eating all the other cats' food. Every time he comes back at night, he's always so full and fat. And I really appreciate my neighbors for inadvertently feeding him. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and taking time out of your tour to do this. I really, really appreciate it. I'm a huge fan, and I'll always be a huge fan. And I'm super excited to chat with you again sometime, hopefully
Well,
soon.
I look forward to it. It's been delightful. Thanks for having me on, my friend.
Anytime, buddy. Well, with that being said, thanks so much for being on the cast, and we'll chat later, bud.
All righty. Take care, man.
All righty. Catch you on the flip.